This week on the Reseller Locker Room, we're going to teach you how to pull up your britches and protect yourself as a reseller.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the Reseller Locker Room, episode 78. And we're going to discuss some important things in this show, which we normally don't do. But because of the recent backlash we've received, we thought we would tone things down a little and make it more gender friendly. How about that? So, ladies and
gender fluid, I'm fine with it.
Okay. Joining me as always is Alex, the Beard King Picker, and Jefferson CJ Bens Fines. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Good. I'm doing. Sales are back. Sales were rough over the weekend. I don't know what happened. I did like two on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now we're back to my regular program. So I think we're at 8 sales today.
I think I had 6 or 7 over the weekend. So not complaining, because I made a promise to myself that I would not complain at any point. But we don't want to waste time, because Alex has put together some good and great talking points. The purpose of this particular episode, and then we're going to have a part 2 next week or week after, whenever we can get to it, of points of how to protect yourself as a reseller, no matter what platform you're using or whatever your case may be as an individual reseller. Let's start off with number 1, and Alex, I'm going to read your note here, and then we'll just discuss it. Number 1, ladies and gents, know the rules, which is the platform policies that you're selling on. And this can circumvent the policies each platform has: eBay, Amazon, Mercari, Facebook Marketplace. Be familiar with the violations that might happen to you that could lead your account to get banned. And read the terms of service on each platform. Like eBay's, they've got a terms of service section you can go into and read. We refer that as to the Reseller Bible. So, guys, let's talk about some of these little bullet points here on platform policies. Who wants to hit this thing?
Do we know any policies other than eBay, though? I mean, except I would know a little bit about Amazon, what you're allowed to sell and what you can't sell.
Well, let's start with Amazon.
I mean, you need to get permission from the bigger companies like Nike. You have to get ungated in these other items, to be able to sell over on Amazon.
So ungated, basically, i.e., get permission.
Yes, from the companies itself, either buying wholesale or from a distributor.
Okay.
You can't just send a pair of Nikes into Amazon, even if you find the listing, and be able to sell it. They're not going to list it. You have to buy like 10 of the item and have an invoice for the product on Amazon to be able to sell it. So that is 10 of the same item from the wholesale distributor. So I had to do that for Nike's, Lego, Disney, a lot of the bigger companies. When it comes to media, I think it's Universal that you need to buy 10 of those too and have a wholesale slip for that. So,
okay.
That's one of the biggest things, but I mean, we probably know more about eBay than anything, what we can and can't sell over on eBay, because we've talked about it before on the show. We used to have a member on the show that used to break all those rules and sell fake items all the time. I mean, that was his specialty. So let's talk about that. What aren't we getting in trouble now for selling Harley Davidson stuff if it has the logo on it?
Not to my knowledge.
Or not, it wasn't Harley?
No, I think it's like some people have sold like a Harley patch that got put onto a leather jacket or put onto a shirt or put onto that isn't licensed by Harley.
So you can't put that in the title then, right?
Yeah, no, you can't put that in the title. Or like if you found a biker vest and it had Harley stuff on it, you couldn't say it was a Harley item, or you couldn't say with Harley patch. I know that'll get you in trouble.
That makes sense.
I know you can't sell road flares on eBay. I know that because I tried to.
You tried?
Yeah, I found a box of road flares for $1, and I looked up on eBay. Somebody was selling them, so I'm like, yeah, cool. So I listed them, and then they took them down. So
was there sold comps on it too when you saw it?
There was sold comps on it. Yeah. But I think things get through.
Yeah.
And from what I understand, even if you sell it and it's gone, they can still come back on you for selling it. But P90X, you can't sell that, but you see that on there all the time.
Yeah,
I've seen P90X multiple times. I didn't know you couldn't sell that.
You can't sell that on there. No, that's a Vero item.
Well,
hidden knives, I got in trouble for that. I had belt buckles with knives in them that are like this long. Like, if you were going to rob somebody, you wouldn't want a 2-inch. No one wants to get stabbed with a 2-inch. They want more than that. But it got me thrown. It got me. But everything I've ever put on there that I didn't know I couldn't do, I just took it down and don't put it back. Once they tell you not to do something, don't do it again, and you'll probably be all right. But unfortunately, I am banned for life on Depop.
Okay, so what did you do on Depop?
I tried to sell those same pocket knives. Watch. But they never told me it wasn't. They never sent me a note and said, hey, take this down. They just went ahead and banned me. And I already had sold a bunch of stuff on there. And I had $682 or something in my account. And they said, nope, read your terms of service. It's our money now. They wouldn't give it to me.
That's what, if Amazon shuts you down, they'll hold on to your money.
Yeah.
Like you get an IP complaint over there, they'll hold your money until you can prove otherwise, which is BS. I mean, it's robbery.
Yeah. So I can never sell on Depop again. Although I've moved and I probably have a different IP address. So maybe I could now. But I'm not going to try it.
Well, if you're new to the reselling game or you've been around a while, you can go onto the eBay site and go through the policies. They do have a huge list of things that they have blackballed that you cannot sell on the platform. Of course, that list probably changes daily or is added to daily. But you can, instead of spending the time we have with each of you naming all the things you can't sell on eBay, you can refer to your eBay home site and work your way through the business policies and all that, and you'll be able to find a list of those, like lawn darts. You remember those? I mean, you can't sell those on eBay either. Now, Marketplace is a different animal. And the only thing from selling on Marketplace that I can say, I don't ship anything. In other words, if somebody buys something, it's a local, I'll meet them locally or whatever to pick up. I don't ship anything. But if you do sell on Marketplace, especially if there are ladies that are watching this, you probably already know this, or if you've never sold on Marketplace, you should know this, that if you're going to sell on Marketplace, make sure that you meet your buyer in a heavily populated area for pickup, and preferably do it in the daytime hours. Don't do it at night. Don't go by yourself, anything like that. It's just put, safety, basic common sense safety measures that you want to put forth selling on Marketplace, because you don't really know who these buyers are. And the only difference between selling online and selling on Marketplace is you're going to come face to face with them. Yeah. So you just need to be precautionary and protect yourself in that fashion. Okay. Anything else on that one?
Well, if we can't name things, I was going to talk about medical devices, because I sold a breathing machine with the CPAP machines, and I saw sold comps, but I heard you can't sell them, but mine sold quick enough and I got away with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, manufacturers of those machines, you can sell them back to them for refurbishment, and they will give you money for them. Of course, it's not going to be the kind of money you would get selling it on eBay, but I had a reseller friend that lives locally. He happened up on 2 or 3 different machines at a yard sale, got them all, found out he couldn't sell them on there, so he ended up contacting the manufacturer, and they agreed to repurchase those back and send them through a refurbishment process, and he got a little money out of them. So, but I don't know though, Alex, if you can sell pieces.
Yeah, part it out or something.
Parted out might be a different animal, but as far as selling the complete machine together and all that, I think that's a no-no on that one. But if you watching have been selling CPAP machines on eBay, let us know down in the comments so we can turn you in. And I'm just kidding. We're just curious if we are correct on that assumption that there is certain things you can part out on those machines, but selling them as a whole is a no-no. So let us know down below.
Yeah, I was going to ask too. Leave a comment if there's some weird guidelines on Mercari or Poshmark that we don't, know about. If you sell,
there's probably a lot of rules, dude, because you're getting into somebody's closet on Posh. So there's probably a lot of rules with that. Like you have to wear your underwear when you go into their closet. I mean, you just can't sit there naked and go through somebody's closet. That wouldn't be kosher.
But you're doing it from your own home, so how do they know?
Well, I don't know, dude, because there's cameras. They could come on at any time. You don't have control over it because AI has taken over the world.
Man, I've been laying around this house hoping somebody turned my web camera on. I ain't made no money.
You've been walking around in your flappy air britches.
Yeah, good. Dancing like nobody's watching, and ain't nobody watching.
Yeah. All right. So basically, folks, just learn the arena that you're selling in before you start doing it, or if you've already been doing it and you've been nailed on some stuff, get in there and do the proper research so you don't get yourself banned for life. Let's go to number 2.
This is all you, Ben, because you have a great story about this.
Invoices save lives. So, record keeping receipts of invoices is crucial, especially for disputes or authenticity claims. And that would include, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard me say this not only on the Rocky Top Picker channel, I've done a video totally dedicated to this subject, how when you go to the post office, get your stuff scanned when you go and get your receipts from those scans every time. Because I've had several cases come back to where having those receipts saved me. And I've had other viewers that left comments that have echoed the same sentiments, that it had saved them too. So, but yeah, we know when you go to yard sales and stuff, you can't get receipts for those purchases. But if you go to Goodwills, thrift stores, save all those receipts. I mean, we're talking about, taxing information as well as having your receipts that help you through disputes on products too. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, you definitely need that for Amazon, your receipts. If you're buying from, say, Nike.com, you want to have that invoice on hand because they'll hit you with a IP or, saying it's a knockoff shoe and you can prove that you bought it from Nike.com. But Jefferson, do you wait in line and get a receipt on every item? Because Ben's talked about this before, and I still don't wait. I only do it on the $100 and over books.
I only go inside if it's $100 or more. I don't do anything else. But
yeah,
when I lived in Florida, I used to go and use the machine, and just you could scan each item and it would print out the receipt because that counts as well. So I have heard though, if there's no weight on it, sometimes they'll hold it against you.
If there's no weight. Well, yeah, because say that someone's trying to say that you send them an empty box. You're going to want proof of that item that you didn't send an empty box.
Yeah, mainly if you're doing that scan machine that some of the post offices have, that counts as your initiating scan. So if you say got off work late or had something that had to go out that day, you could still get there as long as you're there before midnight in California. It's going to count as a ship that day. So 9 o'clock on the East Coast or something like that, vice versa, or 9 o'clock there. So you can use that. But I have heard, and it never happened to me, that if then someone comes back on you, like happened to Ben, and then you can't prove that there was a weight, then that's why I go inside if it's high dollar. So I see them weigh it and process it inside the post office. So, and then that guy, save your receipts even for eBay. If you are selling high dollar items, like who was the guy that was with Tech and Sports? The other guy that still does videos, but he doesn't sell on eBay anymore.
10K on the Bay. I know who you're talking about, but
I mean, that's what got him banned for life. He was selling a bunch of sneakers that were high $20,000, $30,000 sneakers. Sold a bunch of them, real high dollar, one of a kind, and he had gotten them from somebody, but he didn't have any way to prove that he obtained them legally. So if you're selling something that's a high dollar item, you need a receipt on your end to prove that you sourced it. Otherwise, they can come back and ban your account, because how do they know you didn't steal it? Right? I think that really only matters on higher dollar stuff, but even on lower dollar stuff, you should be keeping your receipts of what you've paid for it, where you've gotten it, in case there's any question.
Back to that, the high dollar things like the shoes. What I would have done if it were me purchasing those high dollar shoes is I would have the seller handwrite out or type me out a bill of sale, which would list all the items that I'm buying and how much I paid him. And that way you've got it on paper and have the seller sign it and date it. And then that way, here's proof this is where I obtained it from. Now, where did he get them from? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Right? And a lot of them are one-offs, one of a kind. We're probably, he probably had somebody who was in the industry or something like that, but probably wasn't supposed to sell them, that gave them to him to sell or something. Something fishy happened. What's the name of that guy? I can't even remember his name. But
Chris is who you're talking about.
Chris, yes.
I don't remember his YouTube channel, though. It used to be 10K on the Bay. You're talking about the guy that had the falling out with Tekken, right?
Yeah. Tekken and him, they were in that, and then Tekken started his own. That's about the time that happened.
Yeah. The group they had together.
Yeah.
Are you good? Do you want to move on, or we had any more to touch on this?
Alex, touch on how you organize your invoices digitally.
Wait, what? How I do my invoices digitally? I tell my wife Bethany, "Hey, I bought this stuff. Take care of it, please. Thank you." And then she handles the digital stuff.
Yeah, like an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah. So when we did Amazon, we had Excel spreadsheets of everything that we bought. It was all documented there. We saved every receipt too. It was just on a file on our computer. So in case the companies came back and said it was fake or whatever, we needed proof, we could pull it up and send them the correct invoice. Which happens a lot. If you're getting into retail arbitrage, you're getting into online arbitrage on Amazon, like you definitely need to keep every freaking receipt, because they will come after you. eBay, I really keep receipts, but like I said, I'm going to yard sales and, Goodwill.
Yeah.
It doesn't really itemize every item when you go to
I can share what, yard sale season's kicked off in some areas of the country already. It hasn't really kicked off here where I'm at yet. But one of the things that I do as far as record keeping when you're going on the poop loop, the yard sale circuit, i.e., carry you a notebook and a pen with you, or you can put it in your notepad on your phone, but I just write everything down. So some people will record, like if they go to house A and they spent $20, then they go next door to house B and they spent $15. They'll record $20, $15. The easiest thing to do is date a blank piece of paper, the date, the time you started. Of course, you keep up with your mileage that you're driving that day too. But you know how much cash you're starting off with each day.
Yeah.
And you just go on your route, hitting the sales. So write down the total. You can write down the total from each house if you want. Or at the end of your sourcing day, count your money up if you knew what you started with, and you just do your math from there, how much you spent in total just for that one day of sourcing. So it's kind of redundant to do line item after line, after house, what you spent. It's easier for me if I just do a daily total of what I spent that day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you go to yard sale and buy a fake item, so what you want to do is take your GoPro, film you buying it, and then put their address online. And there's your proof. You can send that to you. Here's the video. I got it from her house, so go after her. Here's her address.
Yeah.
I go on Yard Sale Hunter or wherever I'm going, Facebook, or if I'm on Craigslist, I copy all those addresses into a document. And then I take that document with me and I just put them in the GPS. And as I go, if I spent money at one of them, I'll just write it down on there and then total it at the end. And that's how I keep track of what I spent. Then other times I don't. So, I do. I'll write down what I totally spent for the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people do it different ways, but to me, that was the simplest way to do it.
Mm-hmm. All
right. Let's go to number 4. Authenticity is king. When you're doing
skip number 3?
Oh, did we?
Return,
we skipped number 3.
Yeah,
number 3.
Protect your bag.
Protect your bag. Returns and refunds. Let's talk about our return policies. I mean, each of us have got an eBay store, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Jefferson, what is your return? What is your policies on returns?
I got 30-day free returns. I pay the shipping. But they're talking about changing the reason I'm doing that, right? So if you sell somebody something and they return it to you and they leave you bad feedback, once it gets back to you, the feedback goes away. That's why it's worth it to me. So if someone leaves you bad feedback and they return the item, once it gets back to you, that feedback goes away.
Has that been proven?
Set up?
I've seen it happen. Yeah, I had it happen to me.
Interesting.
If you do free returns, and they just for any reason, if they return it. Now, if they don't return it, it doesn't go away. But if they go in, get your label, and return it to you, poof, it's gone.
That's foul. It ought to go away if they don't return it as well, because they stole your stuff.
Yeah. But I thought that was that someone said that on a podcast like 2 years ago I was listening to, and I wasn't doing returns. But you know what? Even if you say I don't do returns, you're still going to take returns. I mean, there's no way around it. So, and I found that once I started taking returns and paying for the returns, and somebody sends me a note and I can talk back and forth with them, 90% of the time they don't even ship it. Yeah. Most people go, oh, I don't like this. And the 30 days go by and they never print the label. So I've only gotten maybe like 10 returns in 3 years. So
yeah, once I get that open return, I just start praying, and I usually don't send it. I got one right now for a Tommy Bahama shirt I sold, and they said the reason why, I just don't like it. I'm like, okay, well, I'll give you your money back once I get the item,
Yeah.
So I take returns. I don't pay. It's not free though, but they have to pay for the shipping.
On Facebook, I'm in a lot of eBay chat groups, and one is eBay for beginners. And the reason why I'm in that is because I got to go ahead and say this so somebody don't slam me. I'm in that chat group. I'm going to say why I am, and then I'm going to explain why. Because I like to see all the stupid questions that are put into that chat thread. Now, to protect what I just said so people watching don't slam me, no, Ben, there's no such thing as a stupid question. You're right.
Just stupid people, right? Isn't that how?
Yes. Yes. So I see it almost daily. Does it matter? Does it matter at all if I don't do returns? And then I'll read these posts about I don't never do returns under any circumstance. And you know how bad I just want to jump in there and reply to that and just berate the crap out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, because you nailed it, Jefferson. It doesn't matter if you have no return policy. eBay is forcing it on you anyway. So you're only hurting yourself, because any buyer that's new to eBay is going to see, oh, well, if I buy this, they don't accept returns. That could cost you a sale.
Exactly.
But people don't think that way. Everybody's thinking one dimensional. I put something on, I get money for it, and I send it to them, and that's it. Then there's all the little devil in the detail facets that could sink your ship and pop your cherry that you have no idea is going to hit you because you're not prepared. So anyway, yeah, the no return business is BS. Get rid of it. Get you a 30-day, whatever, but get off this no returns accepted, because if you ain't figured it out already, you've already got some that's been forced on you. And there you go.
Aren't you
I think the main thing is,
so you can answer all the questions because you're so knowledgeable?
Huh?
I said, aren't you in those groups just so you feel smart? Because you can answer all the questions because you've been reselling for so long?
I don't answer any. I hardly ever reply. I just get entertainment from reading some of that stuff. But yeah, so have your return policy. I do a 30-day return, but buyer pays to ship the item back to me. That's worked for me all this time, and I just never visited the opportunity to change it to anything else. So that's where I'm at. What about you, Alex?
I do the buyer pays on heavy items. On a really heavy item, I won't do the return. But if it's anything under like 3 to 5 pounds, I pretty much pay for it to come back to me. But if you do good descriptions and you're not trying to really cheat anybody, most people are going to keep it. Yeah. You will get the one idiot who's like, well, I got it. It looks less purple than I thought. But you know what? He's an idiot. So he probably would have found another reason to send it back anyways. So
I take returns. I think it's set up to 30 days, but it's not a free return. They got to pay. I don't really get that many returns, except when I sell clothes like I just did. Now I'm getting a return, but I rarely ever get a return on a media item. I guess you could if you sold movies. You could just rent the movie, watch it that night, and then return it.
True.
But if you're charging them ship it back, that's not going to happen.
Right. Yeah, it costs more than the movie.
Yeah.
Have you been scammed by any buyers before?
No.
How about a buyer switching items on you scam?
Yes, on Amazon with shoes. Someone bought Adidas from me, sent back a stinky pair of old Adidas that had been ran through the mud, and they got away with it because you can return anything on Amazon. Sent the picture to Amazon saying these aren't even the shoes. These are like completely worn down. Mine were brand new, and they still got the item for free, and I had to eat the cost of the shoes. And that's why I don't sell apparel on Amazon anymore. So you get a lot of the swooshing, shoes on there and clothes. People will just rent clothes. I think Amazon just changed it, though, where they're charging for returns now. Like it's not a free return anymore. I might be mistaken, really? But I thought they've changed that. They're trying to get rid of that. So, but returns like on apparel are like 80-something% on Amazon when it comes to clothes. It's terrible.
I mean, I worked for HSN in the ready-to-wear facility for like 8 years. And our return rate was about 28 to 30% on everything we sold. It's just part of the apparel business. People don't know what size they really are, or they order the large and the small, or the large and the extra large to see which one fits, and they just send it back. I mean, and every large and is not all the same. So there are a lot of people that get them and go, oh, it doesn't fit the way I would like. So I mean, that's brand new clothes. You're about a 30% return rate there. Now you're throwing into the mix, used. And then the one thing I think that helps the used not be as bad is what you wear. And if you buy Levi's jeans and you buy a pair of Levi's jeans, you at least know how they're going to fit you. So,
yeah.
I've got a good tip right here. If it just
heard that about you.
It left my head already. Good golly. Can't remember what it was.
Well, maybe it'll come back to number 5.
His tip is take ginkgo biloba. That helps you remember things.
Must be my old age.
Take it.
Never heard of that.
Yeah, ginkgo biloba.
Oh, if you have a buyer that's going to return something, my experience is they always message me first.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something that doesn't fit, which I've had this happen to me on several occasions, when they message me and says that it's too big, too small, doesn't fit, blah, 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 I message them and say, thank you for letting me know. I will accept your return. Please go into your account and start the return process. And the reason for your return, this is key, tell them item does not fit. Tell them what reason to send it back to you on, because I have went ahead and not replied to the message from the return, got the return. They send a message after they started the return saying it doesn't fit, but they returned it as an INAT.
Yeah.
And that goes against your account. So if they're messaging before they start the return and it doesn't fit, be sure to tell them the reason. Tell them like they're two-year-olds. Good. When you fill out the form to return this, please select item does not fit, and I will accept your return. And then they'll use the correct one. Otherwise, if you don't say anything, or they go blindly and do it because they don't know what they're doing, or they just want to get a strike against you, they'll go put on there anything but what the truth is. So there's a good thing to keep in mind is if it doesn't fit, make sure you tell them to put that as the reason.
And that's a good thing to talk about. INAD is the one thing that even if you don't take returns, you have to take it back. So by not taking returns, you're setting yourself up to force people to do that to you.
Yes.
Say, oh, it's not as described. Not as described. I'm sending it back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have dings against you when you could have got away with it.
Yeah. All right. Now we're ready for number 4.
Yes.
Right. Authenticity is king. And we're going to talk about how you list authentic products, especially shoes, designer stuff, or electronics.
Yep.
Alex, you want to talk about that?
Well, we kind of covered this in number 2 about saving invoices. So when it comes to Amazon, you got to save those Nike receipts, Lego receipts, whatever product you're selling. But what I want to talk about when it comes to shoes, what is the name, if you guys know that app that you can take
Check.
Check. So do you guys use that? Do you guys really mess with shoes though?
No, I don't. I had a friend who had a bag and he didn't know what to do because he wasn't sure if it was real or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like $4. It turned out it wasn't real, but still cost him $4. But that's better than selling it and it not being real.
Yeah.
Well, if they're like Nikes, the ones that I sell, you can go to the Nike website, pull up the tongue and look for that product number, type it in, and it'll tell you, if it checks out or not. The manufacturing tag on the tongue of the shoe inside the shoe. Now, I did have some designer handbags last year that I wasn't sure about, but our community of resellers is pretty big. So find somebody on YouTube or ask another resale, hey, do you know anybody that sells Gucci or Louis Vuitton purses, bags, blah, blah, blah. In my case, Rachel Strickland, I reached out to her. I sent her pictures of a particular purse. She looked at the stitching and she goes, no, the stitching's off. It's the wrong zipper. I'm sorry. This is a fake. And that saved me from listing it and getting hit with a fake item. So
yeah, she has the whole video about that too. And I remember when she was on the show, I think Shane after that was trying to buy purses and he still bought fake ones.
Yeah.
So he didn't watch the video close enough, apparently.
So, you can do your own research by pulling up images of authentic bags and look at the stitching and all that. But if you find a reseller that's got experience in reselling them, that is your best bet on YouTube as well, because they will, reselling is about going back to school. You got to you got to educate yourself on the market that you're in. And the more knowledgeable you are about the market you're selling in, to me, the more money you're going to make, because you know more than the typical person does, because you're dealing in it all the time. You don't go to an oil change place to get your upholstery redone, do you? No, you go to get your oil change. So you go where you're specialized. Seek a specialist that's in that field or in that category or in that market or whatever. So, truth.
Yeah, I don't really have to deal with this that much, unless we want to get into like signed books. We talked about signatures before. Ben used to do that, and you can pay to, an expert to say it's a legit signature.
If you just send them to Woody, he'll sign them. He'll sign them He'll sign them for you.
Woody? No, that's Chad that signs them.
Oh, that's Chad. Oh,
man,
that's the wrong one.
Sign all my books.
Yeah, it's Chad.
Quadruple and price.
You had the wrong Chad, but yeah.
Yeah, I had the wrong Chad.
Yeah. But
so, it would help sign books if I had the piece of paper saying, yes, this is legit, and you can sell it for a lot more with that,
A COA, certificate of authenticity and all that good stuff. But, anytime you send things off, I've never, that's made me weary. All these guys that are selling ball cards, they send them off to get authenticated. I've got a fear. If I've got a card that's worth a couple grand, I'm scared to death I won't never get it back, number one. And number two, that could get expensive. When you start sending a lot of stuff to get authenticated, it gets pricey on your wallet. And what are you going to do? Chances are you're not going to be able to recoup every dime of that. Yeah. But anyway, it's all about.
You seem a little testy about your ball cards.
Huh?
You seem a little testy about your ball cards.
Testy. Ball cards.
I mean, back when I was collecting, guys, there wasn't really any authenticating places you send them to, and you're paying so much.
You were collecting guys?
Cards.
Ball cards of guys? What are we talking about? I got confused. I think
baseball cards.
Baseball. Oh, okay.
We should move on to number 5, which is communication, which there's lack of communication right now on this podcast.
Fact.
Number 5.
Communication is everything.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do a good job of watching my packages, right? So I just put my package out there and let it go. And then somebody will send you a note and say, hey, I haven't seen it. Right? You guys follow up and make sure everything delivers. I really don't. But once somebody reaches out to you, if you look at it, I'm like, oh, yeah, it went from Sun City Center to Michigan to Phoenix, Arizona, and now it's coming back to Pennsylvania, right? And you just explain that to them.
Yeah.
Say, hey, it's headed to you. I'll keep an eye on it. And if you talk to them, most of the time they're fine, even though it took an extra 4 days, right?
Yeah, well, the post office is known for shipping it way out of the way sometimes now.
Yeah.
No, I can't agree with that statement. I'll tell you why. I had his golf club covered a couple months ago. He jewed me down to $5 for this club head cover. I accept the offer. I ship it out the next day because that's my shipping thing, is I ship next day. I ship it out the next day to the post office, got my little receipt that I scanned it and it's gone. And then a week later, he messaged me and it was just gosh awful message. Well, I could have walked. You could have walked all the way up here, and it was from Michigan, by the way. I could have walked all the way. You could have walked it all the way up here to Michigan, and I would have got it quicker because it's still not here, and it's been over a week. So I look in the tracking, and of course, the tracking shows that it's somewhere in Michigan, but it hadn't moved in like 3 or 4 days.
Mm-hmm.
And he went ahead and left me a negative review. And I went back and said, when you read my items and it says it ships next day, that means I physically pack it up and I drop it at the post office. When it's in USPS hands, I have no control over how quickly they get it to you. So therefore, your negative comment, I feel, is totally unfair. And then I hit block.
Did you read the rest of this note? Communication is everything. Show how to handle buyer's messages professionally, even if they come at you sideways.
I'll tell you the number one. No response to a buyer is a response.
Yes, and yeah, that makes sense, but not really.
I
And,
know.
You never got laid because you stood across the bar and winked at a girl, right? You got to go out and talk to them, right?
Hey,
you got to
man.
peruse. You got to talk them into it, or you just buy a roofie and then you get in trouble. But that's a whole nother thing. That's a different podcast I'm on. But you got to talk. I have had the worst people where they are coming at you like, well, I can't believe this is, lost, or why did it take so long? I really believe if you go, wow, that's crazy, man, I met my obligations. I can't control the post office. And then say, hey, I'll keep a track on it. And then the next day say, oh, you know what? It just moved to here. It just moved to there. And talk back and forth with them. And you'll get feedback that is reflective of that.
Well, he had already left me a negative
Feedback
before he messaged me.
Yeah. Wow. We can't, we can't deal with idiots. So,
and I asked him to remove it. And then here it is weeks later, and he didn't. This person didn't remove it.
No, I have something happen. There's a guy who was buying auto parts for me when I had a bunch of auto parts. Apparently, they're old, so they were all going to like Puerto Rico. This one guy bought this part, sent it ground advantage, and then didn't understand why it wasn't there in 3 days. And he left me a bad review. And I sent him the thing. But I didn't realize that when you ask for when you're on there and you send the note to ask them to revise the listing, first time I ever did it, that you're actually asking the customer. So I think my thing saying this guy's full of crap and this, that, and the other, because I thought I was sending it to eBay. I didn't say full of crap, but I think exaggerated or whatever, went to that guy. And then he went back and revised his listing. It was much worse. So I just don't do that.
Well, you know how you can when you're listing items, that's a lot of the same, like Hot Wheels. I draft one listing, right? I save it and make multiple copies, and then I just change the title on it. I started putting in the top section of description that my shipping, it says, I'm paraphrasing, my shipping turnaround is next day after purchase, except on weekends. That means I carry it to the post office. After that, it is in the hands of the USPS mail system, of which I have no control over. And that's in every friggin' listing. Not that they read the descriptions, because 9 times out of 10, they don't. But at least if they do read it, they're going to see that if this thing is running late, they're going to realize that I don't have control over it. So, buyers are so presumptuous that come from everywhere, and they get on eBay and they don't stop and think logically. Something that we're getting back to that we've not had in a long time is called exercising common sense. So anyone that knows, if you buy something and somebody ships it and you can look it up, the tracking number yourself, and know that it's in the hands of the post office, that the seller has no control over that, but they don't care.
Yeah. You get that message all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is that.
That wraps that up. That was 5. So following episode, we'll do another 5.
Yeah, let's do number 6.
Well, now it's just going to be thrown off, and it's odd, and it's going to bug me.
Let's do something else. Let's go to the sale of the week.
Oh, we'll do the sale of the week. Okay.
Sale of the week.
I got one.
By the way, you watching and listening to the program, if you leave your comments down below, let us know your take on these bullet points and some of the things that you've experienced. We'd love to read about it. All right, who's going first?
I got The Art of Walt Disney. This is a Eastern Press leather-bound book. I've had this thing listed for quite a while. This one hasn't. There's no sold comps on this. It's been 2 years since this sold last. So it sold for 90. No, I took an offer for 80 on it. I had it listed for like 115. Someone sent me $80. I was checking the sold comps, and there was no sold comps. It's been 2 years since one sold, so I just took the $80. In the past, this book would sell way over $100, but this one's kind of messed up a little bit too. So it's got like some paint they got on here. But there have been comps on this, like me, brand new. It's like a $200 book.
You know, if you get a gold Sharpie, you can color that patch that's scraped off.
I'm not going to do that. Gold Sharpie. Yeah, there's a little mess up on the covers too, but that sale saved my day for sure, or my week. I don't know. I had a lot of low dollar sales, so I'm glad to get one $80.
Okay. All right, here's mine. This is a Chase Authentics number 8 Dale Earnhardt Jr. Budweiser Racing NASCAR Bomber Jacket size XL. Sold for $50.96. $10.65 shipping, sales tax $3.70, $65.31. After sales tax, transactions fees, shipping label, and ad fee, got $43.77.
Is that a yard sale find?
Yes, it is. Jefferson
trying to share the screen.
There we go.
There you go.
Oh my god!
I sale of the week. Nothing exciting. I bought like 40 pounds of keychains. I like to buy them all the time. So this is just 24 assorted keychains. I sell for $25. They sell pretty good.
That's cool.
Used keychains. I think people collect them. So that was my sale of the week.
I'd say, who was your customer at bottom? His name's Eric, because there's an Eric one in there.
Yeah, probably.
Where did you find 40 pounds of keychains?
I buy them off of, they're just around, man. Goodwill, goodwillfinds.com or Shop Goodwill. They always have keychains. So I think I bought 40 pounds of keychains. I think I paid like $50 plus shipping. So basically, and then it was like $20 to ship it. So, it was like $70, 40 pounds. So like $2 a pound. That's a pound's worth of keychains. So $2 into 25.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, Alex, we forgot to mention this. Going back to customer service and your responses to them, we've got to point out Mr. Mike Camparelli, the ambassador to the Locker Room YouTube channel, Metco Meetups. This fellow, once he sells an item, he sends a message to that buyer thanking him for the purchase, advises him when he's going to ship it, and then he'll message him again that the item has been shipped, and then he will message him again when he sees they've received the item and thanks them once again for their business. Now that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is proper customer service from start to finish, from the beginning to the end. However, how many of you think that he is not doing that anymore since he's gotten on YouTube? Because you don't have time.
He's doing it for sure. And Joel, my pocket change buddy Joel, he took that from him, and he does that. And he has gotten a lot of like repeat buyers from that, but he's niched down to.
Oh yeah, I think Alex is froze. So. Are you froze, Alex?
Yeah, he's definitely froze because.
Yeah, he's a goner. Hello.
Hey, yeah. So he froze this week. I couldn't hear you last week. It's a good thing.
We got.
Hey, I watched. So Trash to Cash. Thanks again for calling us out. When they did the thing, they mentioned that I'm a new member of the Locker Room, so that's cool.
Really, I didn't see that.
Yeah, the one from today.
Huh. Okay, we're going to add him in. Whoops. There he is. Did he freeze again? Froze again. He's blank. Don't know what's going on.
I can't believe he's doing blackface. This is crazy.
Anyway, while he figures that out, go over. If you've not caught the Trash to Cash podcast here on YouTube, go over and check those fellas out. They're a good supporter here to the channel. Kevin, Dave, and Carrie are great guys. we joke about them all the time, and they've done it to us over the last year or so. But it's all in good fun, and we don't mean anything personal. It's all in fun. And then, of course, when we get to read a viewer comment, we have somebody that thought it was very personal that I was attacking Kevin's recent acquisition. How you say it? Acquisition and sale, which I wasn't. But anyway, we'll get to that shortly. But yeah, I caught a couple of your clips there, Jefferson, about with your other co-host guy.
Yeah.
What is the segment called?
Pick or pass. Pass.
Pick or pass.
Yeah, so it's pretty much changed that to that. I do want to. We do like 10-minute videos. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. No, Monday, Thursday, and Saturday now is when I'm putting them out. They're doing really good. But
what I miss?
Who are you?
We were talking about his pick or pass videos that he does.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm glad you guys watched them. They're doing all right. I think I'm going to make them longer though. I think instead of doing one piece, I think 10 minutes is too short.
Yeah.
I've been playing with that format.
But what I was doing, or what he was saying, Alex, is the recent episode of Trash to Cash. What do they say, Jefferson?
They call that when they were doing the, because I'm one of their members. They said, hey, you got to call Jefferson or CJ Bens Fines. He's the new member of the Reseller Locker Room, and they called us out. I thought that was pretty cool of them. Tell people to come over and check it out.
And then I followed up. This is a rerun for you listening and watching, but then I followed up with that saying that, Kevin and Dave and Kerry are great guys. We knock on them all the time, but they also knock right back on us, and it's all in good fun. Unlike the latest comment we got to last week's video, which, while we're talking about it,
yes.
One of y'all want to pull that up and read it? We're going to go to viewer comment of the week.
We got two. I'm going to start with this strong unwavering faith. Hey, now let's all be nice to Chad. What's wrong with him promoting everybody? It's his channel. He can promote whoever the hell he wants. And just like all of us trying to do, he's just like all of us trying to do our best every day. Ben, you used to be nice and funny. What happened? Who hurt you? So, Ben,
let me give you the friggin' list, because I have a hit list.
Oh my gosh. So literally Chad started talking about our show and told people to come check us out if you want to watch him get roasted on the live. That's what he was talking about. So we just followed up and roasted him some more. But Chad is a friend of the channel. We all like Chad. We're just joking around. So
he's a Skybox member to the channel.
He's a good dude, man.
He's a great dude. But let me tell the audience this. I wouldn't say anything negative about Chad at all, but he sends me messages all the time on Instagram. Hey, you need to start throwing darts at me on these videos and let's get a little battle going. So he eggs it on, just to go on record. And Chad, you do, and you can leave a comment backing me up of what I just said, but he's all the time egging me on to start something. So
it's funny because you guys I didn't roast him. You guys roasted the heck out of him. And he comments on the video. Awesome job, guys. He doesn't defend himself or nothing. Like, did you even watch it? Or he just awesome job?
I'm just very impressed that he can lick his own balls since he's a wolf. I mean,
that's amazing.
I mean, that's amazing. If I could do that, I'd never leave the house.
But if we're going to be honest, fellas, our average watch time in our hour-long videos is about 25 minutes. So if I am late into the program chapping his hind end,
it was right in the beginning.
He probably didn't watch it.
It was right in the beginning.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. When we
then he just watched that and then he turned it off.
All right, let's read this other one from I Love Vintage New York. Oh, that makes a lot of sense. New York City. First time on your channel. I love Kevin Commonwealth Picker. So do we. Why in the world would you think a vintage bar of soap is odd or offensive and desperate? He probably paid 50 cents and made over $8. You're really reaching. Apparently you don't want female viewers. Do you point out when people sell vintage men's soap such as Avon? Sounds very sexist, guys. Not cool. So now we're sexist. Do you want to explain yourself at all, Ben, or let's just leave it?
Sure. Let me have this.
All right.
First of all, I got to be careful what I say here because I really don't want to rip a cord. I showed the picture, guys, the Summer's Eve feminine body bar. I showed that under the offensive category. Not that it was offensive. It's offensive, i.e. to me, that I would not bother picking up something like that to resell. And I don't care if I got it for free. I wouldn't do it. It's just not anything that I would want to have to keep around and sell and all that. That's all that was meant by. I just thought it was funny that it was a Summer's Eve product and it was vintage.
Well, you need to apologize to her feelings and to Kevin.
Do I need to what?
I said you need to apologize to her feelings and to Kevin, apparently. Not being so sexist, but I do have offensive.
I would say that if a guy was selling Avon, I'd give him a bunch of shit. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, because Avon sucks.
Or man breasts, I'm going to give you crap. I mean, we're not sexist. We're just offensive to everybody. Come on.
Yes.
Be real. Right?
Yeah.
We don't care. I mean, I got to be a little sexist because if my wife thinks I'm being too nice to a young lady, I'll probably get in trouble. Right? So,
Yeah. Just at the top of today's show, we put a warning label on this program. And there's also one on our page on YouTube telling you that there could be some things that might offend some of you. But I'm not here to make everybody happy. I'm saying how I feel. And bottom line, Kevin is a great guy. Everybody knows that. Kevin is a pioneer in reselling. He was one of the first YouTubers I ever started watching. And he knows that I know that. And so I don't mean anything negative towards it. It struck me funny, fellas, that it was a Summer's Eve product that number one, I wouldn't have never thought to pick those things up. Number two, I would never pick those things up. Number three, I don't ever want to sell anything like that. But that's my business. So there. Everybody does their thing differently.
And Kevin's a smooth talker. I mean, how many more? None of us have ever brought as many people into swinging as he has in his own
That's
life.
right, man. He made the pineapple famous.
Exactly. I mean,
but can you imagine going picking with him and he comes across this big tub of medical closeout and say, how much you got on these strawberry Summer's Eve douches? I'll take the whole tub.
It makes sense because his thing is the enema. I mean,
we're selling enemas. My gosh.
It's just cleaning another area.
That's right.
It makes sense. He's cleaning up.
No, I mean, the lady viewer does have a point. 6.8% of our viewing audience is women and 96% is men. And we've had several women here in the locker room, and I'm not sexist at all. Women are the most beautiful creation that God's ever created, and everybody knows that I really like women. So no sexist here. It's just a difference of business opinions. And that's
good. You proved your point that, 102% of the people listen to us. So that's great.
Yes.
Let's move on. For her, offensive find of the week.
You got one?
Yeah.
Boom. All right. What we got?
Since we're
warning, this might piss people off.
I found this book and I gifted it to my wife. It is The Don'ts for Wives. It is a list of things not to do if you're a wife from 1913.
That's why the book is so small. If it was written today, it would be the size of an encyclopedia.
It's funny because there's another blue version, but it's the don'ts for husbands. So,
what's the don't in there?
Read some, yeah.
Don't nag your husband. He won't carry out your wishes for love of you. You certainly won't because you're nagging him. He certainly won't. Yeah, don't sulk with your husband if he has annoyed you about something. Get it off your chest. Sulking wife is as bad as a I don't know what that word is. Anyways, it's just a whole bunch of little things don't do. I know I read one, like if your husband's sleeping on his couch, just leave him there. Don't wake him up and tell him to go to bed. He'd probably rather sleep in his chair. Things like that,
Imagine what updates would be in that book if it was written today, because it would be, like I said, it would be a lot thicker.
Yeah,
It's
for
pretty
sure.
small, like 60 pages.
Don't check your husband's cookies. You don't want to know.
I don't even know what that means, bro. Oh my
The
gosh.
cookies you get on the internet when you're browsing, man. Not the cookies. You know what I mean.
Hey, do we have a pitiful sale of the week?
I can put my sale of the week back up. That was pretty pitiful.
I sold a Tennessee Titan pendant for like $5 today.
I sold a Hot Wheel for $4.
Yeah. Now I just got to find that pendant. I've had it forever, and it's moved multiple houses with me. So hopefully it's somewhere in this mess.
All right, let us recap. Ladies and gentlemen, we covered 5 points to protect yourself as a reseller. And I believe next week we're going to have the crew from the Resellers Leftovers podcast joining us here. And there'll be 6 of us crammed into this locker room. And we'll be discussing all things reselling, about each other's shows, the upcoming meetup in Nashville, which is less than 2 weeks away. If you haven't made plans, it's free. Get to Nashville, 25, 26, 27th of the month. We will be there. A bunch of over 200 people was last count that's going to be present there. YouTube resellers as well as regular resellers. It's going to be epic time. And you just got to pay for your food and lodging. So anyway, the episode after that, we're going to catch you in the next, is it 5? 5 more? We got 5 more points.
Yeah.
Five more points to discuss how to protect yourself as a reseller. This episode, we covered the first 5. Make sure you tune in 2 weeks where we pick this back up and talk about the last 5 points that you want to be made aware of. All right. Anything else, fellers?
I got nothing.
I got nothing exciting.
Bye, Felicia.
See ya.
All right. Rocky Top Picker, CJ Bens Fines, Beard King Picker. Catch us every Thursday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard, right here on the beloved YouTube. YOU.
Wait, I got something, guys. I got something. The Mad Guide to Man Boobs.
That's offensive. I want to see this when we get off air.
What's up with that guy in the middle?
What number are you?
I'm not the guy in the middle. That's weird. He's got lopsided tits.
All right. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. Leave your comments down below. We can't wait to see you next week. Peace and love. Have a good week.